Hello and welcome to From Our Perspective, Two Therapist Moms and a Mic. I'm Claudia Glassman.
And I am Katie Truax, and we owe you guys an apology.
Yeah, we took a little hiatus, an unintentional vacation on this.
Yes. Oh my gosh. We had the best laid plans to get together in person and to drink a glass of Two Wolves wine, which, if you don't know what that is, you need to educate yourself, and have our podcast in person at Claudia's house. And we didn't do it. We did two out of the three things.
Yeah, we decided we weren't going to work.
I always overestimate my energy levels when I travel.
Yeah.
Travel seems like it's just sitting in a car.
It's exhausting though.
It is
Yeah.
exhausting. I can't figure that out. Why is it so exhausting to just sit in a car for
Yeah.
5 hours?
I don't know why, but it is exhausting. And it was also a Friday, like late in the afternoon that you guys got here. And so, by the end of the week, kind of just don't want to. It was like the mood was not there. And instead of sledging through, we just hung out, our kids played, ate dinner, did other things. So,
Very true. Very true. We did drink our Two Wolves wine. Do you want to explain to our hordes of listeners what Two Wolves wine is?
Two Wolves wine is the wine that Pink makes at her winery out in California that I had purchased because I've been on the waiting list for goodness knows how long. And then I got off the waiting list and I ordered it, and then I wasn't going to drink it until you came. And so we enjoyed, even though you're cleansing.
Wine's pure.
But yeah, well, we had a good time. We just didn't record it, but it wouldn't have been fun to listen to anyway. So our listeners were saved.
Yeah, we did a murder mystery game, right? Box.
Yeah.
Which was so fun.
Yes, we solved it. We solved the crime. We had to read all the case files. We are nerding out right now, but it was a good time.
It was a good time. I've thought about that ever since. Like, I want to do another one, man. That was so fun. I will say, I think that the last clue was it was lame. I feel like it was like a cop out, man. I feel like the last one, like I was expecting it for it to be something like bigger, like a bigger like climax at the end of the plot, right? And it was kind of like, yeah, you're right, that guy.
You were right. You were right 2 guesses ago. Still the same guy. Yeah.
Like, really? That was it? I felt kind of let down.
I've had that game for years though, and I've never obviously played it. And I was like, I'm pulling it out. And now I actually packaged it all back up because it's a one and done, right? Like you play it, you solve the murder mystery. Now you have this like game you can never play again. So I packaged it all back up and I gifted it, and I like handed it on to the next person to play with their friends, and hopefully they keep doing that so we get more use out of it than a one and done, because it seems a little wasteful. But
yeah, no, I love it. It was super fun. It reminded me of when we've gone to the escape rooms in the past, except for we could do it like in the comfort of your home, drinking our pink wine,
yeah,
which is not, by the way.
So that's what we did instead of podcasting.
Yes. And guys, if you've not listened to us for long, you may not know that we are diehard Pink groupies.
Yeah.
Have been for many years.
That's why the wine is so pivotal.
Important to us. We've been to 4 concerts now.
I don't 4, 3, 4.
4.
Yeah.
We did one with the girls from True. We did one with our husbands.
One with just me and you.
Yep. And then one with Ellie and Ashley.
Yeah.
And now we're the proud owners of tickets to not 1, but 2 Pink concerts in November.
Yeah, I'm trying to unload one of those. It's not going well. We shall see.
So if anybody wants to go to a Pink concert, we have tickets for Miami. Good seats.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So how is it? We don't really have a topic today. We kind of just decided to, I don't know, let you all in on our musings and our normal conversations. So get ready. How was your weekend?
Yeah. Oh, well, I think here's what I think happens. I think we have so many things that come up through our weeks as therapists, right? As we sit with clients, as moms, as we parent, as humans, as we move through the world, um, that like it's almost like when we get ready to do this, it's like, well, what do we talk about? Well, there's so much we could talk about, and like the things that feel passionate today may be different than what we felt passionate about yesterday, or what we're going to feel passionate about tomorrow, and it's all good stuff. And I think, you know, one of the things that we might consider moving toward is more of just kind of like an organic kind of a conversation as moms, right? Like as just like girls, like women, humans on the planet who also happen to be, running businesses, being professionals, running homes, parenting children, being wives.
Yeah. We sound
My
busy.
daughter, we're so busy. My daughter said something to me last night. I forget what she said. She asked me to do something for her. And I said, yeah, absolutely. I'll add that to my list between running 3 businesses, being your mother, taking care of 3 pets, no, 4 pets, taking care of a household, seeing clients, being a good friend, being a daughter, being a sister. What else did I say? Taking care of my body. And she just laughed because she knows how. She goes, Mom, you only run 2 businesses.
She's like, stop exaggerating.
Little do you know what I do while you're at school. But yeah, I know. Yes, so my day has been crazy, absolutely crazy. Y'all know that I also, in addition to being a therapist, own an event planning company at the beach, and it has kicked off officially. We are officially in season. I feel like
Okay.
today starts season,
Yeah.
and it is crazy. It is crazy. We are off to the races. I had one of our event permits get completely lost, which messed us up big time at the start of the day today. And then I had 3, not one, but 3 new hires, each independent of one another, each seemingly adults who each seemed very interested in working for my company, each independently no show for their initial interview and training shifts today.
Hmm.
3 humans.
Also, you live in a small town, so percentage wise, that's actually really
I
big.
know. It's so
Oh
bad.
gosh, that's so frustrating. And I don't know about you, and maybe it's because I'm busy, but I find the older I get, the less tolerant I am of people wasting my time with non-commitments or
Mhm.
committing and then not following through.
Yes.
Like it's like there's a flakiness, like I don't have time for it because I'm outsourcing something new. If I'm needing you for help, like that's what I need you for. Don't flake on me. I'm trusting you to do it. And my patience for that has gotten really down. And I'm starting to feel like, am I a crotchety old lady? Like what's happening? But I just like it irritates me.
No, I know. Me too. It irritates me to no end. And I always thought it was because of like one of my values is responsibility. Like I'm very high on that. Like anytime I take like a personality test or like a values test, an inventory of any sort, like responsibility is very, very high for me.
Yeah.
Like I take care of my shit. I organize things. I schedule things. Now I'm imperfect. I drop balls. I make mistakes, right? Like by accident.
Yeah.
But like if I say I'm going to do something, I do it, man. I have a Google calendar that I live by. I check all day, every day for that day, the next week, and whatever I sign up for, unless there is a mishap of some sort, I'm there for it, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I cannot be there for it, I'm either deeply apologetic because I have messed up, right? I've made a mistake, or like I will let somebody know in advance and why, and try to be as communicative as possible about, oh my goodness, something has come up out of my control, blah, 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 right? I'm stuck in crazy traffic. I just got to, like this last summer, my car died on the side of the road, like I'm stuck on the side of 98. I cannot get to you, right? Like I will communicate. And this, like the no call, no show,
Mhm.
right? Now it's not a call anymore, it's a text. It used to be no call, no show when we were like in our 20s. Remember those days?
Yeah, now it's just they didn't, yeah, but even a text, like, right, I think it comes down to, like, communicating because life happens. People forget stuff, like, it's fine. But I do think it's about the communicating of it, not the, "I'm just gonna pretend that didn't happen," or,
Yeah,
like, disappear. Yeah, I struggle with that too.
yeah.
Did you hear from any of these people or
Not
no?
single one. 3.
Are they in the same age group, like, demographic?
I don't know. I don't get to see that. So I
Oh,
I hire through Indeed and I just see their resume. So I only see, their work history. Sometimes they'll put on their educational stuff and I can surmise certain things, but
yeah,
other times I can't really tell. And to be honest, I try not to get too much in my head about who I'm hiring. You
sure.
know, when I first started this, I used to like Facebook stalk people, and I think a lot of employers do that. I've heard that more and more.
Mhm. That's pretty not common practice
Yeah.
because you can see what kind of person you're hiring, right?
And I don't know, maybe I should go back to that. I think two things. One, Facebook is less common now, and you can't really find people on Instagram like you can on Facebook because it's private, right? But I think more people are having Instagram accounts now and less people are on Facebook because I've not found people on Facebook.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, maybe I should go back to that. I don't know. I don't know what the deal
Well,
is.
I don't know if that would have prevented this situation
I
because
don't
what's
know.
a Facebook profile gonna tell you about their level of responsibility and dedication to work, right? Like, I mean,
That's true. That's
nothing,
true.
nothing. Yeah. Oh,
And then I used to have a reliability assessment measure on my job listing where they had to take this thing, but I found that that didn't measure up with their actual like real life performance or presentation anyway, so I just took that off.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a reliable test.
Mm.
I don't know. But we live in this area. It is a strange area because this very service industry driven, right?
Yeah.
And so the population is very like there's a big split. There's a big dichotomy. There's like the a clear like um let's say upper class, right? People who are coming here to be on tourism or who live here and are either retired or their work is very flexible independent of location, and they
Mhm.
have a lot of disposable income to invest in different levels of hospitality, right? And then you have the people who provide the hospitality services to those people, and our housing is not geared toward the latter. So people have to drive in from surrounding towns to work the hospitality jobs,
Mhm.
which can be burdensome. Um, so it's kind of notorious. Our area is kind of notorious for it's hard to hire here, because you don't have the housing is not affordable. It's not affordable for most middle class people in our area, much less people who are working like an hourly rate. It really is a problem. And I don't know what the solution is to that, but I have some ideas, but I'm not in
You heard it
policy.
here first, everyone. Katie is running for local politics down. No, I'm just kidding. Um, that's how rumors start. That's how rumors start.
Right. No, I was shoot.
Oh.
That'd be tough. Oh, God help me.
Oh, okay. So no shows. Yeah. That's frustrating, especially when you schedule your day and your time around meeting these people and then they don't come. You could have been doing something else.
That's right. We
Yeah.
got a busy season ahead. I need help, man.
No, I've had one of those weeks where it's been like, I've got my calendar for the week and I'm like looking at it on Monday. I'm like, this is what my week looks like. And then it was one of those weeks where just things keep coming up. And I'm like, sessions I didn't intend, or can we talk? And it's
Mhm.
the whole week was like, that whole week was not what I predicted,
Yeah.
which there's worse problems. But I find, gosh, maybe I am getting inflexible. It like throws me for a loop. I like the structure and organization. I don't love a lot of last minute things.
Yeah. No,
It was
I
all last minute things, like all week long. In life, the stupid roof leak, like in everything, right? It was like, oh, come on, universe.
Yeah, we've kind of had that week too. It's funny. I had one day where like I think I had 3 clients scheduled and two out of the three shuffled and I got here and Rob was like, it's been a weird day. I had this person was late and this person no showed and this person had this other thing. And I said, yeah, my client, same. And it's been a weird week here too. Maybe
Yeah.
it's just the equinox energy. I don't know about all that stuff.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
They're shifting. Spring is here. Pollen's here. Maybe people have brain fog. Kids are on spring break
Mm,
or coming into spring break.
yeah.
Were you guys doing anything for spring break? Do you have anything planned?
Yeah, we're going to do a grandparent visit. Yeah.
We do that
Yeah.
ish
The
when I came to see you on our way
kiddos,
out.
the kiddos want to see their grandfather. So we're going down there kind of last minute. Wasn't really, we were planning on just sitting tight and regrouping. But now we're traveling.
Do y'all fly or drive?
Fly. Yeah. We fly.
You're flyers. We're drivers.
Yeah.
We're
You guys
different.
drive everywhere. Can't do it. We're the world's worst road tripping family. Like cannot. I like the luxury of having all my stuff with me,
Yes.
but I also like getting places faster.
But is it faster really?
Yeah, it's a 10-hour drive with no stops,
Okay.
bathroom breaks.
And how long does it
It's an
take?
hour and a
From
half
your
flight.
door- Yeah, but from your door to their door.
5 hours, 6 hours at max.
Okay.
Because it's like 30 minutes to the airport. If you get there 2 hours early, which if you get there 2 hours early, an hour and a half flight,
Yeah.
and then 30 minutes to their house.
Okay. So you're still
Yeah.
saving time.
We fly into a small airport. That helps because it's not like chaos when we fly. It's a very small airport. It moves very quickly. So that's part of
Did
it.
I tell you what happened to my mom and sister when they came from New Jersey in January?
Yeah, with the turbulence and the
Oh my gosh. Their flight, it took them 26 hours to get to me.
that's insane.
Insane. Absolutely insane. They
Yeah, but
came.
that's not normal. That's bad luck.
Look,
Bad luck.
it's bad luck. But I do think I'm hearing more and more stories of like terrible airplane. Like,
No. We're not talking about this. I'm gonna get on the plane in a little while. Stop
look,
it.
that's another trend. I was telling you, I'm seeing all these trends, and I feel like one of them, like when I was a kid, I was with you. Like I flew on airplanes all the time. Every summer, I would go visit my father in New Jersey and come back. And I started doing that like as a solo traveler, like as a minor, like early on in life. And when Ellie was younger, she and I would go to New Jersey to visit family, just the two of us, and we just hop on a plane and go, right? Atlanta to Newark, I guess, is where we'd fly into. Easy peasy. But I'm hearing more and more like, oh yeah, well, this like for example, here where we are, right? People's vacations are being impacted because they can't get here. Like
Mm,
their flights will be delayed or like postponed or like canceled. Or like the stuff that happened with my mom and like I have some clients whose spouses work out of state, right? Like I mentioned, like a lot of people who live here full time either have to be retired or into entrepreneurs or work out of flexibly, right? And they'll say things like, oh yeah, so and so's flight got canceled, so and so's flight got delayed, so and so had to do an overnight in Houston or Dallas or fill in the
mhm.
blank, right? Because the flight got canceled.
Hmm. Do you feel like it's actually happening more? I wonder about this a lot about things in general, like that, or even like crime rates or whatever, right? Is it
Yeah.
actually happening more, or is your awareness of it different? Because as a kid, what did I not track is the
Mhm.
airline industry and flight delays across the world.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, who was I talking to where I would get that information
You
from?
didn't track that as a kid?
I did not. So like, is it right? Like perspective, is it really a trend that's
Mhm.
happening more? Like, is there an official report from the airline industry saying like, yes, flight delays are up, or is it our
I don't
awareness
know.
of those things? Because when you're a
Right.
kid, if it wasn't your flight, you wouldn't know.
Well, I will say this. My mom is 70 and she says she's never seen it this bad.
Okay, well then that's like, right. But I don't know. I often wonder. Like with
I
a
do.
lot of things, is it what we're paying attention to? Is it what we're noticing, or is it actually different? Like, are the facts different, or is it just our awareness of those facts have increased?
Well,
Because
I think about that a lot with, I hear a lot of my clients say, and here we go back to being therapist again. I hear a lot of
every
my
time.
clients say things about, our times, the scary times we live in, and how, what is the world coming to kind of thing, right? With politics and crime and war and division and technology, right? Um, and I think I've said this to you before. I know I've said it to my husband. I have that exact thought, right? That I'm not discounting that things are tenuous, right? But I do think that maybe with some exceptions, most generations have experienced that, right? If you look at, I mean, throughout history, right? It's not like we as humans have lived this utopian peaceful existence,
Yeah,
right?
and we just now messed up, right? Because if you really dive back into history, we historically we do some not so nice things, and there are plenty of moments in time where things are chaotic or life threatening or
Mhm.
yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think, right, and again, when I too have this like more pleasant memory of my childhood, but also I wasn't watching the news. I was not aware of world events.
Right.
So if there was I mean, I was a kid when the Gulf War happened, right?
Mhm.
And I was old enough to know about it, but like I didn't track the details of it. I didn't. So it was this thing out there that wasn't in my realm. And I think as adults, we understand the connectedness of the world a little bit more. So if something's happening over there, what threat does that pose to us here kind of thing? But as a
Right.
kid, you don't have that. So really, is the world worse now? Or I just was so naive. I was like, because you're self-absorbed as a kid, right? It's your world. It's everything revolves around you. That's how your brain works. So, um, yeah. And I agree with you historically. If you want to go through our human existence, we've had some pretty, horrible times.
That's right.
Yeah.
I had a mom tell me this week, maybe it was last week, that she questions if she did the right thing to have a child
Yeah.
given the climate of our world right now and what her child might face when her child is our age,
Oh, I've
right?
had that thought.
Have you?
What world are they going to be in?
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's a better world. I don't know. Right. But I've had that thought of like, but not to the point of like, what did I do? I shouldn't have had kids. But I
Hmm.
do wonder, like, what world did I bring them into?
Hmm.
But those might also be the people that change it. If you hold the idea that this world's a shit show,
Hmm.
maybe that generation, maybe your kid is an agent of change in that. I don't know, right? Like,
Right. Those are existential issues, Claudia.
yeah, I mean,
Can you
yeah,
define existential issues for our listener?
you
What's
can.
an existential issue? What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of existential issues, right? That's kind of in regards to our existence and the point of this, and nothing that has an answer.
Right.
Nebulous. Yeah, but actually I have a lot of these conversations with clients because I do think like, right, this idea of, I mean, even what I did just there, right, creating meaning for whether or not that's true. I don't know what this kid's going to grow up to do, right? But we need as humans, we need to create meaning in something.
Yeah.
So if you hold this like, oh, world's garbage and I had a baby, what did I do? If you can hold meaning in well, maybe there's a point to their birth, their existence,
Mhm.
then I don't know, you created meaning out of something that creates anxiety for you. But I
Mhm.
do I do have those conversations a lot with people. Like especially when they're going through hard things and they're like, this sucks. Why is this happening?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't actually know, but can you hold space for there is a reason, there's a lesson, there's something on the other side to like,
Right.
I don't know, whether it builds strength or resilience or knowledge or, you know, I don't know, wisdom that you didn't have 5 minutes ago.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really tough. And I think that those questions are tough. And I think, oh, sometimes the way we answer those is the determinant factor of our overall mental and emotional state, don't you?
100%. But
Right?
that's my point, right? If I answer those questions with there is no point,
Mhm.
my emotional and mental state is going to be one of a lot of discomfort and anxiety.
Yeah.
If I can say, I don't know, but I do believe that there is some purpose to this, some purpose to my suffering.
Mhm.
It does create a huge shift in how we tolerate that suffering.
Mhm. Yeah.
Everything's perspective, like everything,
Right.
you
It is.
know?
And that can be the deciding factor for some people, right? Do I live my life with anxiety or depression or do I not, right?
Yeah. Well, and for some people, are my thoughts contributing to it?
That's right, right. Because
Because
that doesn't count for people who, if there's a biological cause or underpinning, right?
or like there is some level of anxiety and depression that is the result of real feelings about life stuff.
Hmm.
Like I'll talk to clients that have a lot going on in their life that like, if you felt a little anxious or a little depressed and sad, I would understand because those are sad and anxiety provoking situations you're living through. So when you report that, yeah, that makes sense. That doesn't mean you are anxious and or depressed overall. You're responding to a situation.
Right.
I
That's
was
right.
talking to
I
someone the other
think
day, it's
that's
like, I'm pretty
important.
optimistic about most things, but I still feel really sad and anxious when I think about this. Yeah, that is a normal response to an overwhelming situation that is out of your control and that's sad and that's hard to deal with. That's very different than the mental health diagnosis of sitting with anxiety and depression, which is a longer term place
Yes.
over a large variety of situations, right? It's not
Right.
like I got this diagnosis, I'm having this feeling about it, and I feel depressed. Like that's a normal response to some bad news,
Yeah.
right? I feel depressed and sad, and like the world doesn't matter all the time, even when things go well. That's your umbrella of depression, right? Um,
Right.
but I think there's like a really normal response that we have that we also sometimes pathologize, like, oh, they're depressed. No, bad news equals feelings,
That's right. That's
you
right.
know?
Here. Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
but our perspective on it won't necessarily change that we have these feelings in the moment, but it changes long term how we hold space for that
Hmm.
or how well we cope or don't cope with it, I think.
I agree. Right. How deep those feelings might come in, how long they last, and how broad their impact may be on us. Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
How temporal or versus permanent.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Because if we can make meaning out of something, then there's a silver lining, essentially. Right. Essentially, there is a silver lining. Essentially, if we can make meaning, then there is a greater good.
Yeah.
And or there's something we can learn. And if we can learn, then often what we can learn is something we can control. And when we can control, we feel as humans like we can control something, right? That gives us power. And power is an energetic, an energizing, a motivating emotion and experience versus a helpless, stagnant, out of control, powerless, right? Meaningless existence.
Yeah.
We make this shit up, man. I remember walking out of my house today, locking my door after I double checked that I'd unplugged my hair straightener, which clearly didn't do its job today, as you can see, because you can see me on the Zoom. Like, and thinking to myself, because my day had just gone to shit already. It had gone to shit already. And I was thinking to myself, like, okay, there is a reason for this. There's a lesson to learn. What do I need to learn? Right in this, like, what do I need to do different next time so that I am less likely to have days that go to shit like this one?
Yeah.
And literally, I mean, I already put a system in place to try to avoid part of what created the shit that was my day today. Right?
Mhm.
With my staff, I have reopened my job posting and consider, do I need to rearrange my therapy schedule on days when I have a lot of events? That's something that I've been playing with a lot. We've owned this. This will be our fourth year out on the beaches. And of course, like any new company, it's grown from like a tiny thing, just like a little seed to like, it's big now, man. It's really big and it's fun to see it grow. And I really enjoy it. It taps into like all the other parts of my personality that kind of went to the wayside when I became a professional counselor, everything to do with hospitality and aesthetics and design. And I enjoy watching it grow. There's something very satisfying about growing anything to me. Um, and except for humans, like I only want one of those. That's enough. But I have lots of plants and but I have always wrestled with the right balance between these two jobs,
Mm,
because I want to do it all. I want to
yeah,
do it
can't do
both.
it
I love
all.
it. I want to
Yeah,
do. How do we get on that from existential issues and meaning making and
existential
bringing
crisis,
children
having a
into the
crisis of
world?
identity and job priorities.
Of
Yeah, no, I
identity.
mean, yeah, I don't know how to help your job issue other than to say, like, yes, you have to carve out pieces of the pie for each, but sometimes they overlap. Maybe that's unavoidable, you know? I don't know. But the meaning piece, I think you're right. Like sometimes it is completely made up by our minds to cope.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure. That's where rituals and not habits, but like any, oh my gosh, help me with words. There's no words today.
Well, I was just
Superstitions,
thinking,
like superstition behaviors are
yeah,
creating control, right? If I see a black cat and I like, I don't know, throw dirt on my shoulder or whatever. What's wrong
that's
with you
salt.
spill salt and then you throw it over your left shoulder?
Yes, that's salt, not dirt.
Dirt, whatever. But like it's, all these things, like they're yeah, kind of made up, right? But it makes you
Knocking
feel
on
control.
wood, right? Knock on wood, right? Remember
Yeah.
that?
But
Yeah, I do.
it is. It's that doesn't matter. And this is my argument to people who are like, but I don't know that to be true. It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Like it doesn't matter if you know that to be true. If you can confirm 100% that there is meaning in this garbage situation right now, right? Because first of all, you won't know if there was meaning until you're on the other side down the road and looking back, right? And you have some distance and you can say, oh, it all was for this. And chances are when you're doing that, you're creating the meaning for yourself anyway,
Yeah.
right? But what I do know is that just that action is healing. And I think like even when you look at the stages of grief, right? We've got the 5 stages of grief. Well, in recent years, there's been more research done on like, well, it's really not just 5 stages because one important aspect of it is um, integrating that grief into your life. And one way that people do that is to create meaning out of that grief, which is why you'll see people create like nonprofits in
Mhm.
memory of someone, right? Or get into activism so that other people don't experience this, that, and the other. They are making meaning out of that loss.
I love that.
Can someone confirm that that meaning was the intent behind the loss? No, but it doesn't matter because if I can create meaning for myself,
That's right.
that's what matters because I'm the one that has to live with X, Y, and Z feelings about it, right?
Right.
So I do have people like, but how do I know if that's true? Doesn't matter. It's meaning for you.
Mhm.
It does
Mhm.
not have to be confirmed or deemed true.
Mhm.
And if you believe it to be this meaning for you, when you look back and you create your narrative around the story, you're going to build that in.
Mhm.
Right? But it's like, how do you it it's how do you survive it, right? How do you cope with it? Whether that's, the ritual you created so your, shitty day doesn't happen tomorrow
Right.
or whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this is a lot of really deep stuff, man. How do we get started on this? We were talking about a trampoline park earlier.
Yeah, that's
Or if
well,
we just follow
there's no meaning for that.
our,
Um,
our random musings. No, but I mean, because a lot of this ties into spiritual beliefs and religious beliefs, even too, right? Like, what is the meaning of life? Why do bad things happen, right? Um, and that's some deep stuff to crack open. It
yeah,
really,
but isn't that like a large part of your job?
my job,
Our jobs?
our
Well,
job,
not the event plan, but like, I mean,
right?
this is a lot of not necessarily what I talk about with clients, but the intention is there. Like, this is what people wrestle with. What is
Mhm.
the point of this all? What is the point of my trauma? What is the point of my shit marriage? What is the point of my fill in the blank? Doesn't my own mind tormenting me, right? Like, we all need to feel grounded in something. And I think this is how we do it, is create meaning for ourselves, for whatever.
Yes, that's right. And for those people who can tie an experience, a painful experience to meaning, right? Whether it is a religious belief or a spiritual truth or an existential paradigm, right? Or even a mindset.
Yeah.
What I've seen is that those humans tend to weather storms with more resiliency.
Yes.
Right? So where it is a I feel depressed or I feel sad or I feel afraid or I'm having some anxiety versus I am depressed or I have anxiety, right? Or I am anxious. It's a temporal state that, like you said, is a normal reaction. Like if you burn yourself on the stove, you're gonna have a burn. It's gonna
Yeah.
hurt, right?
Yeah.
You experience pain and emotional pain, mental pain. Ow, that hurts me, right? That hurt me. That is hurting me. I'm afraid. I'm sad. I'm scared. That will pass, just like the burn, if we can move through it. It's just when we get stuck in that and we get hung up on these, it's kind of a doomsday, right, way of thinking where, you know, bad things happen for no reason, right? Or I am doomed, or my child is doomed, or this society is doomed, or the world is doomed, or this will never get better, or there's nothing good in this, right? Um, these are things that are the recipe for deeper and more long standing
Pain and
mental
discomfort.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Well, and even, you talked on this earlier about our need to control. And I think we as humans do feel the need to control things that we realistically have no influence over.
Mhm.
Right. But I think one of the things we can do, sorry, my kids are screaming. I got really distracted. I apologize. Mom, this is working from home, people. You guys can't hear it, but I hear it.
Therapist, moms, and a mic. Where the mic?
There we go. Right. To Katie, help me out. What the hell was I talking about? I lost it. My God, I'm sorry. This is the world's
Well,
awesome.
I don't know because my brain just went to the thing that I just suddenly remembered that my daughter asked me to do last night when I reminded her how I also
Oh
had to.
my God.
So
Too
I don't.
distracted. We should change our title. Too distracted therapist moms. And I'm like, um, oh, power and control. Right. We need to create control. We need to feel in control of things. And so I think there is a strength in being able to identify where we can have control, even if it's not 100% true. But part of it is in that meaning, right?
Mhm.
If I sit and I say, God, you know what, Katie, bad things always happen to me. Why do they always happen to me? Why is it always terrible things that happen to me?
We wouldn't be friends.
I'm passive. I have no control. It's just the universe, crapping all over me,
Mhm.
right? Versus if I say, bad things happen to me, but maybe there's a reason this happened to me.
Right.
And whether or not I can actually control anything bad happening in the future, right? I can shift my focus into a reason for that thing,
Mhm.
right? Let's circle back to your employees.
Mhm.
Okay. Really annoying that 3 people didn't show up, right? But you could also say, it's possible that they weren't a good fit. And so
Right.
maybe it's a blessing in disguise they didn't come because
Right.
they weeded themselves out and on to the next. I
Right.
don't know if that's true. They may be delightful people. We have no idea. But you
Because
can rationalize
productivity
it
is
this
the
way.
most important thing.
But you can rationalize it this way
Mhm.
to feel less discomfort in the moment,
Yes.
right? Um,
I'll never forget. My mom told me one day, I can't, this was a decade, more, 2 decades ago. I remember she said something happened. I was having a bad day. And she said, honey, sometimes I think about the concept of grace. And I was like, what do you mean? And she said, well, I sometimes think, okay, I got a flat tire. Well, maybe that flat tire prevented me from being in that 6 car pileup that happened on the highway that I was supposed to be driving on 20 minutes before,
Mhm.
right? And this was early enough. I must have been in my 20s or 30s, but it was early enough in my formative like years of like developing my belief system about like these questions, right? Why do bad things happen? Why do we have these shit days, right? Like, and there's big things and small things, right?
Yes.
But even so, right, to your point, and I love that, and I really incorporated that, and for her, that was a spiritual belief, right? Not necessarily like a religious thing, but kind of like, I believe what she was saying is like, God is protecting me. Sometimes, even if I don't know, like, if I don't see it, if I can't understand it, but like, there must have been a bigger reason for this.
Mm. Yeah.
And I just really loved that, and I agree with you. Yeah, these 3 dudes, they were not my dudes. If they were, they would have come, and the fact that they didn't come, they're not mine, so on to the next, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and even bigger things, right, that we don't want. I mean, painful, terrible, tragic, traumatic things, you know?
Yeah.
Um, it sucks. I remember very acutely standing in my kitchen when I was, I think I was out of grad school and newly practicing as a therapist, um, and on the phone with my husband my boyfriend at the time, my now husband, and I had just gone through. I think I just gotten news that another family member had passed away, and I had a series of that in my mid 20s, and it was very painful for me for that period of time. And I remember crying and saying, why? When will it stop? Why? It's like I can't get a breath. It's like, I can't, I feel like I can't get my head above water. Why is all this shit happening to me?
Yeah.
And I remember him
Yeah.
saying at the time, he said, honey, this is going to make you such a better therapist. Just think about all the things you're going through. And that wasn't all that I was going through. I think we had 4 deaths like back to back to back. And I grew up in a pretty small kind of extended family. So it was a large percentage of my very close network
Yeah.
passed away with rapid succession, very close to one another. And there were several other things that were happening, some things in my personal life at the time as well, some other things in my family life. And I was wrestling. I was struggling. I was really, really struggling. And I
Yeah.
remember telling him, like, I don't want to be a better therapist. Like, let me just stop. I'll just stay mediocre, right? Like, let me just,
Yeah. Like, I don't want to pay this price to be a
I
good
don't want to pay
therapist.
this
Yeah.
price. I don't want
Yeah.
to keep feeling these pains, but we don't get to choose, right? We don't get to choose when those things come. But I do know that I am a better therapist now because of having gone through the things that I've gone through.
Yeah. Well, and there's also this feeling of, I don't know, I feel like we as people feel like we're novel. The reality is we all experience death and loss.
Mhm.
Some definitely more than others, or some in a shorter time with a smaller window. But like none of us are immune to that feeling.
Nope.
You know what I mean? And yet we sometimes get in our own heads about nobody knows how I'm feeling because I'm the only one that experiences this. No, we as humans all experience all the things. And yes, there are people that definitely have harder roads than others. Like, I don't want to discredit that, like, some people's journeys, they get knocked around a lot more than others, right? Um, but we all experience some level of that, you know?
Yes,
But when we're
that's right.
in it, it feels so you can't see clearly though. When you're in those moments, right? Like you're getting nailed with like another like notice of someone's passing in a short amount of time. And yeah, I think I would also be like, come on.
I know.
Like, I got it, right? But how you respond in the moment versus how you conceptualize it on the whole, right? Again, in the moment, it's painful, it sucks. Yes, pout, get angry, do all the things you need to do, feel all the feels. It is absolutely okay to be like, this is unfair, this is too much, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I think as you conceptualize it, like as you kind of move through it, right, to say, okay, I think, Rob may have been a little ahead of the curve on his feedback because, like, yes, that's true. But what do you not want to hear crying on the phone? But I get his sentiment was right, right? Like, eventually, that is the place you get to.
This will
Yeah,
make you
some people don't get there.
stronger.
Yeah, it is true. It is, I don't know. I think it's important to create meaning out of stuff, good and bad. We like to, like, I feel like we need it. We need to organize things for ourselves.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All the
Yeah,
ways the mind works. It's such a cool thing.
it is
And
cool.
we can hack it. And that's what therapists can do
Yeah.
sometimes, is right. Teach you how to hack your mind so that you know ways to trick yourself into feeling better, right? Like, because it's a real thing. It's a real thing. And perspective is what matters the most.
Yeah. Well, perspective paints the world for us and how we experience it. And that is the one thing we can change. I can't change someone else's behaviors, someone else's opinions, some situations, but I can change how I view those or how I approach those.
Mhm.
That's
Okay.
where our power
You can,
lies.
you can title our episode today Perspective and Existential Issues. Think
I want
anybody would
to
know
like
what that means?
delete
I don't want to listen to that.
that one. That sounds, yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, those are our musings for the day, everybody. Yikes.
Yeah,
Thanks
perspective
for
of painful situations. I don't know. What would be a good title?
figuring it out.
I'll leave that to you for musing over. Oh my gosh, I gotta go hire people now.
Yeah, well, I appreciate everyone, if you're still listening, being on this
Yes,
really random journey with us, because I didn't know we were gonna land this plane.
kind of fun though. I really kind of enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Well, we are definitely still open to, if there are topics people are struggling with, if you listen to us and you have a yeah, but send it to us. If you're listening to us and you have a, okay, well, what about this, guys? What's your take on this? Send that to us, right?
Yes. We
Um,
absolutely. We are
where can they
accepting
find us,
feedback.
Claudia?
Uh, Claudia, I'm at Mighty Oak Parenting on Instagram, and I think I'm on Facebook, but I don't go on there much, so maybe don't try that.
Facebook, yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Katie? Where are you?
Oh, I am Rob and Katie Truax, Truax on everything.
Yeah. And you may
Website.
not know this, Katie, but no, neither do our listeners apparently. But we actually have an email address from our perspective at protonmail.com.
What?
We've had that. Yeah.
Have?
Yes.
One
So
day we can figure out how to run a podcast.
you can you can email us questions or
Hey,
thoughts as well.
do you know what I was supposed to do? I was supposed to make us an Instagram on my travel. One of the other things I was very what's the right word? Ambitious, thinking that I could take on while I sat in my car seat for many, many, many hours going to North
Yeah.
Carolina and back.
Yeah, we may have to have a podcast business discussion after this because yeah, I have an email address no one knows about. We've got no Instagram has disappeared. We got some work to do, people, but here you go. You know what? We're doing the best we can. This is a show run by basically just us two. I'm not tech savvy and yet I'm trying to figure this out. So, I think we're doing
Great.
well considering we have no clue what we're doing.
I think you're doing great. Well, thank you to everybody who is listening or has listened. And we hope you will continue to tune in and share this with your friends. And follow us on social media and let us know if you have any topics you want to discuss or any questions or comments about what you've heard today or any other topic we have
Yep.
discussed.
Till
That's fine.
next time.
Bye.